eccentric tempo is because of tension. Tension is not because of eccentric tempo. So when you say I'm eccentric training, I'm gonna slow down the count to 5, and then you stand up with that weight, you were just wasting your time. You're working more on neural capacities than you're working on tissue capacities, because you're shaking, and shaking is a sign of your central nervous system sending continuous signals to a failing group of musculature or close at its limit. Then there are individual force sensors within the muscle. This is very important for the distinction between concentric limits training and eccentric limit training. Now, your eccentric and concentric strength will have a ratio anywhere between 1.1 to like 2. And this is like in the most extreme athletes, hamstrings, we're talking about double the capacity to absorb versus what they can concentrically do. It's crazy the amount of loading you can do on an eccentric only hamstring curl for sets of 5 to 8 and still be fine. Like no hamstring strains whatsoever. But anyway, that's so on concentric limit training, the signal of mechanical tension is because of active components, and this will allow for fiber diameter hypertrophy. So the fibers, the individual muscle fibers become thicker. However, if it's a lengthening contraction and it is eccentric only training, so the limiting factor is the eccentric percentages. So you're training above 100% concentric. You're You're definitely training above it. Unless you just got started like a week ago and you were at 1.1 because you did concentric only, you're starting with a capacity above it. This will allow for fiber length because the way the internal tension is perceived by the muscle is different. The sensors that perceive mechanical tension are different. So that is something to keep in mind, that fiber length, fiber thickness are two distinct different adaptations to training. Fiber length has an increase in velocity. Fiber diameter have an increase in force. So the one prefer the velocity component of the force velocity curve. The other will prefer the force component of the force velocity curve. Again, it's interchange. There's exceptions to the rule, and there's it's dynamic.